Hi, this is Jason Nickleby, Coordinator of Officials with the Minnesota State High School League, and this is training tape number 2 for our NFHS football rule study presentations. We're going to take a look at rules 3 and 4 this week and take a look at a few play situations so that we can get ready for our games beginning this week. Again, hopefully these tapes are helpful for you as we get going with the season and we take a look at rule study and how we can improve in this area as we go into the season and then throughout the season. As we mentioned on the previous slide, we're going to take a look at rules 3 and 4 this week. Rule 3 really covers game clock and play clock. There's an emphasis on that piece in that rule. And with the 40-second play clock coming into play this year, we really need to get our nose into the book as to when we need 25, when we need 40, the situations that it calls for, and what we're going to do with it. And then also a refresher, a reminder on game clock, when it should start on the ready for play, and when it should start on the snap. And then there is a section on substitutions. We don't want to get too technical on substitutions, but there are situations where illegal substitutions are outlined, and then we should remember our philosophies when we're dealing with substitutions. And then when we get into Rule 4, we're really looking at the status of the football. So when is the ball live or dead? And then when we put the ball in on a snap or a kick or inbound spot or those kinds of factors. So that's what Rule 4 really looks at. And so we'll take a look at some play situations that cover the game clock, play clock, and then the status of the football. Rule 3, periods, time factors, and substitutions. Again, real heavy focus on the game clock and play clock, and then some substitution rules. First part being, when does the game clock start? Does it start on the ready for play or on the snap? Obviously, this is really crucial at the end of a close half or game, so make sure we understand those situations. Then timeouts, who, what, where, and when. Who can request? Where do the timeouts need to take place? Does it need to be in the middle of the field? Does it need to be in the side zone? Who can be there? And then when timeouts can be requested and granted. So make sure that we are aware of those situations. Play clock. Again, bigger deal this season with the NFHS adding the 40-second play clock. And then substitution rules. What is illegal substitution versus illegal? When will we keep the ball live versus shutting it down? So make sure we understand those rules, but then we also have to incorporate philosophy into our officiating when it comes to these rules. So if a substituting player comes out, they get to the 8.5-yard mark and the defense sees them, close enough. We're not looking to create ticky-tack substitution fouls. Substitution rules are there to make sure that one team doesn't gain a big advantage over the other team. If the defensive team sees the substitute and the replaced player leaves, then we are in good shape. So we want to leave that go. If they have 12 in formation on defense and they show no sign of trying to get out the field, just shut it down. Nothing good comes from running that play with 12 on the field. So those would be situations where we keep it live versus kill the play. So just remember the rules, sets, get our nose in the book, check them out, but at the same time, we need to incorporate philosophy when officiating these plays. Rule 4, ball in play, dead ball, and out of bounds. This rule takes a look at the status of the ball, whether it's in play, whether the ball is dead, and then what we do with the ball to bring it back into play once it's out of bounds. And first thing, what actions make the ball dead? So take a look at some of the situations in the rule. What causes the ball to become dead? And we need to understand all of those situations. And then how do we handle inadvertent whistles? They will happen even to the best of us, but don't compound your issue of having an inadvertent whistle by mishandling what we do after the inadvertent whistle. So the inadvertent whistle is the first mistake. The second mistake is usually bigger, and that's when we don't know what to do with it once we have one. My best suggestion is try to keep the whistle out of your mouth as much as possible. So if that means holding the whistle in your hand, if that means dropping the whistle from your mouth once the snap occurs. Back judges and umpires should almost never have the whistle in their mouth. Line of scrimmage officials, I would hold it. If you don't have the whistle in your mouth, it's impossible to have an inadvertent whistle. So just make sure we understand inadvertent whistle situations and what we do with those so that if we have one, which would be unfortunate, we don't screw up the administration of the inadvertent whistle once we have one. And then finally, where do we snap the ball next if it goes out of bounds, if the ball's dead, in all the situations that are occurring in games, we know what to do with the ball next after those plays occur. So that's Rule 4, so make sure we take a look at those aspects. Okay, we're going to take a look at some play situations from Rule 3 and Rule 4. These may not be the most important situations from the casebook, but just a couple situations to get our nose in the book, thinking about play situations that could occur and how we would handle them. And just try to visualize yourself in the play, in your position, whether it's line judge or referee or whatever it is, and then how you would handle these plays if you had them in your games. And then finally, what you would communicate to the referee if you did have a situation involving these plays. So first one, situation 3.3.3. Near the end of the third period, it is 3rd and 4 at the B48. A11 advances to the B45, and during the run, there is holding by B77. The penalty is accepted. At the end of the down, there are 3 seconds remaining in the period. The game clock started with the ready for play signal, and the game clock hit 0 prior to Team A snapping the ball. The ruling for this situation is that Team A is not entitled to an untimed down as time did not expire during the down. So we would need the game clock to hit zeros during that play where we had the holding penalty on Team B. In this case, there's 4 seconds remaining. We wind the clock up properly, but then Team A does not get a snap off. We would not extend the period for an untimed down, and we would move on to the next period. Situation 3.4.3, on 4th down, in situation A, K14's punt is blocked by R1 behind the neutral zone, where K23 recovers and advances beyond the line to gain, or in situation B, is stopped behind the line to gain. In situation A and B, the game clock will start on the snap because a new series has been awarded following a legal kick. So in situation A, Team A made the line to gain, so they're going to get a first down. In a normal first down kind of a situation, we would start the clock on the ready for play, but in this case, a new series is being awarded following a legal kick, so we're going to start the clock on the snap. And then in situation B, we're going to turn the ball over on downs to Team B, so a new series is being awarded to Team B. So in either case, new series to Team B or following a legal kick, we would be starting the game clock on the snap. 3.4.7, with less than a minute remaining in the game, Team B trails 21-20. B23 commits a holding foul during the down. Following the play, A78 commits an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. The fouls will be administered separately and in order of occurrence. In addition, Team A will be given the choice of starting the game clock on the snap. If Team A were to decline to start the game clock on the snap, then Team B would be given the option of starting the game clock on the snap. With Team B trailing, Team B will likely choose to start the game clock on the snap. If you take a look at 347, it says when a penalty is accepted with less than 2 minutes remaining in either half, the offended team will have the option to start the game clock on the snap. So in this situation, we have a holding penalty. It gets stopped inbounds. The clock would ordinarily start on the ready for play, but in this case, Team A would have clock choice. They most likely would decline to start it on the snap since they're winning, but since we had the foul on A and Team B is accepting that penalty, they would then have clock choice. So just don't forget those pieces, especially in a situation like this where we have a live ball and dead ball. That can be really confusing and get lost in the shovel, so make sure that we don't forget clock choice when it comes to these kind of situations. 4.2.2 situation, K14 has one knee on the ground to hold for an apparent field goal attempt. K6 is in position to kick. K14 catches the snap and, in situation A, places the ball, which is kicked by K6, or in situation B, rises and either runs or passes, and in situation C, without rising, flips the ball to K6, who attempts to run. The ruling for this play is that it is legal in A and B, And in C, the ball will become dead immediately when K14 tosses it to K6 while K14 has his knee on the ground. And this is listed at 422A exception. So in other levels of play, the holder can flip the ball to the kicker or anyone else with their knee still on the ground. In high school football, if they attempt to do that and their knee is in contact with the ground, it is going to be dead immediately. And this would also include if the holder gets up and runs for a little bit and then decides to put his knee down to attempt a kick at that point, it would be dead at that point in time. So just make sure we understand that exception and that difference, because in high school football, this play would become dead immediately, as in situation C. 4.3.3 situation, Team A has third down and 7 yards to gain at the B37. A88 leaps near the sideline to attempt to catch a pass near the B30. A88 is, in situation A, airborne trying to make the catch and is knocked backwards by B26 attempting to make the tackle, and A88 lands outside the sideline at the B32, or in situation B, airborne when he controls the ball attempting to complete the catch and is carried off the field by B26 landing out of bounds. In these plays, we have two different rulings. Situation A, the pass is incomplete and the game clock should be started on the snap, bringing up fourth down. So in situation A, the receiver is pushed out of bounds in that case, or contacted or hit, lands out of bounds. There's no force out. He would have landed in bounds. If he gets contacted in this manner, lands out of bounds, it's going to be incomplete. And in situation B, we would have a catch. This is where they clearly grab the player and pick them up, hold them so that they can't go back to the ground, and they would have landed in bounds had this not occurred, and then they are subsequently carried out of bounds by the Team B player. So in this case, we would have a catch, and the game clock would start on the ready for play as Team A had forward progress in the field of play. He achieved the first down. We'll probably need to look at cross-field mechanics to get this spot, and he had achieved a first down in the field of play prior to being grabbed and then thrown out of bounds by the defensive player. So in the first situation, incomplete. Second situation, this would be a completed pass. Okay, that will do it for our situations for Rule 3 and 4. Again, really focusing on the game clock, play clock, substitutions, and then status of the football. So how do we get better at these plays and handling these situations? Again, start pulling all the pieces together. So we looked at Rule 2 definitions. Now we start pulling in clock pieces and then dead ball situations, and then how do all those pull together, and then how do we move forward with the next snap or play. So keep up the dialogue with your crew, with your fellow officiating buddies. That's how we learn these plays and how we get better at these. And then finally, just relax. Trust yourself, trust your knowledge, trust your study, so that when you have these situations, you can be confident that you're doing the right thing with these plays. So again, hopefully these situations are helpful for you and your crew as you're getting into games this week and then into the season. Our focus is rule study for this year, and then making sure we apply NFHS rules during NFHS games. So with that, good luck with your games this week, and we will come back next week with some situations in Rule 5 and 6.